thank you one more time. The program this morning on ITV, it's What Are You Watching? And of course, I did tell you that we are going to be looking at the ongoing issue between the Code of Conduct Tribunal and the Chief Justice of the nation, talking about Walter Onoren. We understand that Walter Onoren, the CJN, is facing a 6-count charges with the Code of Conduct Tribunal, ranging from undisclosed amounts, certain amounts in some accounts, and of course some assets, here and there that he did not disclose. Well, the bottom line of it all is that arguments are on. Some say that the Code of Conduct Tribunal is so right to lay those 6-count charges against him, while some say that even if the Code of Conduct Tribunal is right, the method in which the Code of Conduct Tribunal is going about the case is not too right. In the words of law, that is not legal, that in the legal profession, a legal hearing officer should be first be trialed by the NJC, that's the National Judicial Council, because it is the National Judicial Council, according to law, according to arguments, that really has the right to, try a legal hearing, a legal officer that is, that has heard. What are the arguments? We are on today to look at the issues one more time. And of course, we are so privileged to have Nuruddin Suluji. He's a legal practitioner and also a Muslim cleric. So you're welcome to this program this morning.
Thank you for having me. Yeah, good morning, viewers.
Barrister Dan Ubege is also part of the program today. He's also a legal practitioner and a public affairs analyst and also a politician. You're welcome to this program this morning.
Thank you very much, everyone, for having me this morning. Thank you. Thank you, viewers at home.
Okay. Now, gentlemen, let me come to Nuruddin Suluji. You'll be following the story. What is your immediate reaction to the story as it develops?
Well, thank you for having me once again. I want to begin by saying, for me, I find the entire episode lachrymose. It is a very sad development. I feel mortified that it has to happen. But if we were to do a peregrination into history, we probably would not have been where we are now if we had had the intrepidity to take the steps that needed to be taken long before now. Why does one say this? Let us begin by saying we must be ready from whatever divide or angle we are viewing issue. We must be ready to expostulate the perennial stench of corruption that is so pervasive in the judiciary. I'll tell you, bad as Abacha may have seemed, in 1993, he saw the need to say, let us sanitize the judiciary. There was the committee or a panel that was headed by late Justice Kayode Esho of blessed memory. By February, by July, I think, of the following year, he came up with a report. A number of judges or justices were indicted for corrupt practices. The present CJN was one of those who was indicted. So in civilized clime, he would not even have grown to become a justice of the Court of Appeal, not to talk of becoming the CJN of the country. Again, do not forget, yes, the approach was queried. There was a public outcry. When the DSS invaded the homes of some of the justices, his home was one of those whatever invaded. But here we are talking about what has happened or what has not happened. What cannot be denied. Even Kayode Esho, before he died, he had again mourned the corruption, the degeneration, the fact that gradually the judiciary was cascading into that Act 68 chasm of what you refer to as the chasm of venality, where the gluttony of those who were supposed to be immaculate beings, those who were supposed to dispense justice, had contaminated themselves. So we had problems. What is presently ongoing is that they said there was a petition. We will query the process of whatever that is being done and all that. Again, it was Kayode's or Esho's whatever. It was when they decided 7+ years or later, they said, okay, let us look at what Kayode Esho had said, that the so-called NJC was inserted in the 1999 Constitution as amended. It was not originally there. There were some other administrative whatever. The unfortunate thing is that that provision of the Constitution has not been tested up to the Supreme Court. What does it say? It says when a judge or a judicial officer is said to have any act of misconduct,
has erred, yeah.
You must first take it to the NJC. The question is it when he errs in the performance of his duty, or when he commits an act of rape, for example, when he commits murder, must it first go to the NJC? Is that worth the whatever he's saying? Like I said, that is what you find in the Constitution. It has not been formally tested for people to say, okay, fine, this is the position.
Okay, let me pause you, Nuruddin, so that we can bring Barrister Dan Ugbege in. Now, Dan Ugbege, what is your own reaction? Are you in support of those that say that the NJC should be the first trial on Onoge, or that the CCT should just go ahead?
You know, my allegiance is to the Constitution. The Constitution is a sacred document that binds all of us together, members of this society called Nigeria, the Constitution. So where you circumvent the Constitution, there's a problem. If there's a bigger problem, the law would rather let 1,000 criminals to go than to punish one innocent person. Mr. Nuruddin Asenoge is a lawyer. He knows this. Section 36, Section 5 of our sacred Constitution stipulates that everyone accused of a criminal offense is presumed innocent until the contrary is proved in a competent court of law. So either in a competent court of law, as in this case, in a tribunal. The Court of Criminal Tribunal is a creation of the Constitution and must be subservient to the provisions of the Constitution. So as a lawyer and as a citizen of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, my first allegiance is to that Constitution. And what does the Constitution say in a matter like this? The Constitution, Section 153, created the National Judicial Council. And it gives it the sole jurisdiction to discipline judges and to control judges. So a judge that is accused of infraction, of course in the discharge of his duty. And in this case, what the CJN is accused of is infringement to the discharge of his duty. It is the NJC that is the first port of call. The NJC looks at it, examines it, and of course recommends. The NJC can suspend or expel or dismiss a judge, and many have been done in the last few years. And there's a recent case, a Court of Appeal decision in Gajiwa and Federal Republic of Nigeria. That is the NJC that has the sole jurisdiction
to try that case.
So when the federal government rushes to consider a petition under 24 hours and sends it from the Korokono Borough to the Korokono Tribunal, and within 2 working days, the NJC, the CJN is invited to face trial, you will know that there's something fishy. And when I also discovered that it was through a private petition, you now ask yourself, the petitioner, how did he know that the NJC did not, the CJN did not declare his assets correctly? How did he know that the CJN operated a domiciliary account?
No,
in the first place, there is no law that bars a judicial officer from operating a domiciliary account. If a domiciliary account in Nigeria is not a foreign account.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean that you mustn't disclose as part of your assets.
I'm coming step by step. A domiciliary account is not a foreign account. It's a local account, but that has foreign currency. So that answers that very correctly. Now, in talking about declaring assets, before you even go there, The Constitution in section 36(4) says that any person accused of a criminal offense must be taken to the appropriate forum. If, for instance, I'm accused of a capital offense, you don't take me to the magistrate court, you take me to a high court. So if you take me to a magistrate court, no matter how good your intentions are, no matter the crime I committed, if it is not that forum that you take me to that is supposed to hear that to entertain that trial, everything will be nugatory.
Okay, let me bring Nuruddin Asuluji one more time. Nuruddin, the issue of time is of the essence as we look at this case, this scenario, because for some people, they believe that this speedy arrangements of how to bring Onoren to the CCT, it's suspicious. And also, some people also ask the question, why now? I mean, we're talking about an issue that happened some years ago, that he did not declare his assets some years ago. How come all this is happening now? And perhaps that's why people begin to see the political undertone. After all, that Onorens from the south, they begin to see the political undertone about it. I don't know how you feel about this.
I think that will be infantile. When and how a matter is brought to court, for me, is not the fundamental issue. That would mean we're looking at form and not dealing with the content.
Okay.
I have a problem with the East. I don't use the process, the procedure. I fought that. Why do I fought the process? Remember the issue of Tinubu? Tinubu was taken before the Code of Conduct Tribunal. The case was thrown out. Why? Because they said the Code of Conduct Bureau ought to first have placed the fact before Tinubu for Tinubu to either deny or affirm. All the facts that are available to us today are facts that were gleaned from either social media or whatever. We can't even now tell which one is the authentic news or which is the fake news, whether Onoren was so confronted or not. Like the case he cited, I said I have a problem with that. It's a division of one of the Court of Appeal. Unfortunately, those who went to court in respect of that matter, the government, for example, didn't see the need to say, okay, let's try this case at the Supreme Court so that we could have. Because the Benin Division could come up with a different whatever of the Court of Appeal. We have had issues like that. Now, when you look at what is said to have happened, it will depend on the side. My primary concern is about how do we work not to enfable the judiciary. That's my primary concern. Do not forget that some of the persons who have canvassed the positions, they canvassed now saying, oh, this fellow comes from South or he came from North or whatever, were taciturn when it was the case of Ayo Salami. And that was one of the issues that was raised. I am not saying Ayo Salami was right or was wrong, but it was the issue of corruption. Ayo Salami was saying he was asked by the then CJN to compromise. Because when you look at all of the issues that were there, Wamako was not qualified to run as governor of Sokoto State when he ran. Because at the Court of Appeal, the election was void. It's like you have gone into the university, you didn't have the requisite qualification to be admitted. If you came in 2018, you didn't pass your English O-level, assuming that was a condition precedent for you to be admitted. If you came in July of 2018 and you got your English O-level in September of that same year, at the point you came, you were not qualified. Ayo, even when Ayo was finally cleared, the government of Jonathan did not return him. Nobody carried placard. Nobody protested. But you see, the beauty of it all was that as at that material time, Wamako was considered an indispensable whatever. But because there was always going to be the intervention of whether you call it nature or you call it God, it was the same Wamako who was one of the principal actors that precipitated the collapse of the Jonathan's administration, the one they brought through the back door. So these are basically the issues. So when we talk about, oh, he comes from the South, or he does not come from the South, he had this account. If he had, whether it was a domicile, what is the whole essence, for example, of declaration of assets?
Okay, now, just go on, go on.
The whole essence of the declaration is that those you have submitted that to will begin to look at what your earnings are. Do they justify what you say you own? If they don't, you have an obligation to explain how you made the difference.
Okay. Now, Ogbege, now for some of the arguments also of this issue is that Onogan is really not saying that he did not declare, but that he declared from a specific time to another specific time. You know, the declaration of assets has to do with filling of forms and all that. Take, for example, you are made to declare your own assets. You fill the form that will carry you for like 2 years. And after that 2 years, you begin to have more properties. The issue is this: if Onoge is sincere, don't you think at that point that maybe he started maintaining the domiciliary account, that he would have also alerted the authorities concerned?
Evans, what the law says, you see, this is why some of us are very curious, you know, and you know me, I don't really trust the Buhari government because they've shown it over time. Why we are curious is this.
Well, let us not say we're not talking about that now.
Yeah, we are examining the government, we are examining their intentions.
No, let's stay on the issue.
The correctness of what they are doing.
Yeah.
And when you want to look at the correctness, you must also look at the intentions, you know, that can be gleaned from the haste, from all of these things that they are doing. I'm sure that they know that they cannot get conviction against Onoge, but they just want to hit up the polity, and probably embarrassing, probably push him out. Even
when it's glaring that he did not declare the assets.
That's where I'm going to now. Now, what does the law say? When you are appointed, when you are elected, I've appeared before the Code of Conduct Tribunal before many times, especially when Justice Constant Momo was chairman of the Code of Conduct Tribunal. They came to Benin. I presented about 5 claims. You know, so when you are appointed into a public office or you are elected into a public office, you declare your assets before swearing in. Then when
all assets that are due you.
Yes. Then when you also leave after your term, you also declare. What Onoge did was to declare in 2016. And the next time he's going to declare, there will be 2020 when his tenure as CJ or as judge of the Supreme Court is going to elapse.
Now the question is, that declaration, did it declare the $3 billion in the
$3 billion? That's social media propaganda.
Some say $3 billion, some say $3 million.
That is not true. But
now, did he declare that as part of what he was supposed to declare?
Did he have that at the time he was appointed? You ask that. Now, when you are appointed, you declare. So whatever you make from that point till you are there, you don't have to declare. You don't have to declare every time you make every money or you put any money into the account, or anytime you open a new account. You are not going to declare until you are going to leave again. The government is aware of all this. They will not secure conviction. You see the issue of Saraki. Saraki came out and all the courts heard that he was not guilty. Yet, immediately he became Senate president, the government started fighting him with the Code of Conduct Tribunal. We have a government that uses the instrument of the law and the institution of state to fight perceived enemies.
Even when the facts are glaring?
To meet their own political agenda.
Anyway,
sometimes, yes, let me learn. Sometimes, people that say it is an ethno-religious fight, they might not be wrong. Why they might not be wrong? When Onoge was the most senior justice of the Supreme Court that was supposed to take over from the last Chief Justice of Nigeria, and he was not sworn, he was not appointed.
Yeah, but he was eventually
for
sworn
about 3 months. But when he went to the UK, it was the acting president, Professor Simbajo, who is a senior advocate of Nigeria, that appointed him. So Buhari came, I'm sure he was not happy. And of course, they are doing everything possible now to push him on. But Nigerians must be vigilant.
Okay.
We must look at what is going on. And the haste that we talk about, you know that in 2016, a certain Bishop Usadolo Oshe wrote a petition to the EFCC that the then governor of Edo State, and that's what shown.
Let us not miss issues here. That is not the point now. We are not talking about that. So let's leave the issue. Let's leave the issue of Adam to Shemale away from it. Nuruddin, let me come to you. Nuruddin, I know you want to react to some of the issues that he talked about. Please do.
But you see, for me, it is to keep that institution clean. It is about the most powerful institution. A judge could order after diligent whatever, that an individual should be killed. Not the president of this country can do that. After his immunity, he will face charges. Not the legislator will do that. We are in a country where James Ibori was discharged and acquitted on the same facts. In the UK, Ibori didn't dissipate the time of the court. He pleaded guilty and did serve whatever jail term there. So that's an individual, because these are the issues. Buhari may have had issues. I'm not saying that there is this government that is immaculate and all that. The SA to Buhari has said he does not even know, because the Code of Conduct Tribunal is even supposed to be under the supervision of the CJN. We are dealing with issues that are novel. Between 1863, when the Supreme Court was first coined, and 1963, when the Privy Council ceased to be the appellate court, the final court, whatever, and we had the Supreme Court as the apex court, we have never had a sitting CJN who have been tried. Do not forget that Onoge is the chairman of the NJC. What does that imply? That you are going to have someone there who had not swum in the ocean of putridity.
So it was probably going to be a case of trying to bring somebody in his own court. I am sure that these are part of the things that those in the legislature will begin to think about. Some persons have argued that if you have the NJC, all of those we have had as cases of corruption, including those who acted in Osun State, all that the NJC had done recommend dismissal or retirement and all that. They don't face the criminal dimension. So these are issues. As it relates, do not forget that Daura, the DSCC guy who invaded the National Assembly, was from the same village with the sitting president. All right, gentlemen, let's begin to look at lessons that we can learn from the ongoing story. I'll start with Ugbege.
Lessons that we can learn is that the Constitution is supreme. The Constitution is a sacred document that should be respected. And the government, the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria should understand that this is a military era, this is a democracy, and he is subject to the Constitution. He should respect the Constitution, he should follow the rule of law. In a society, in a democratic society where the rule of law is not respected, that society is a decadent society and it cannot experience any growth. Nuruddin Asenoge mentioned just now, let me quickly respond to that the essence the president said the president was not aware. If the president was not aware, you not ask yourself, what is the president aware of? That means he's not aware of anything. That means he's not in charge.
But you cannot say the president is not aware of everything.
That is not his duty.
Let's mind the kind of words we use.
No, I'm not the one using this.
Yeah,
but the essence of the president has said.
You don't make inferences on words used. I mean, you don't
he said he's not aware. No, Buhari has come out to say he was not even aware.
But that doesn't mean the president is not aware of anything, just like what you said.
So you ask, why is there
because he does not control the code of the law.
Visit Benin State, the man refused to visit Benin State. When Buhari got there, he said he was not even aware that.
All right, let me pause today. Absolutely, please. What are the lessons we can take from all this?
The lesson is for those who are devotees in the temple of justice, they must be immaculate. Okay. It's the last hope of whatever. Let us expose to the corruption. He can't deny the fact.
Yes.
In election cases, Kayode Esho of Blessed Memory said so. There are CJN who have retired. One of them is deceased now, who were said to be the conduit pipe. All right, for the transfer of money. It's a routine institution. We must sanitize it.
Thank you so much. Please extend the hand. No, you can't say so. You cannot say so. You can't sanitize a routine society. I will let you say so. Anyway, thank you, gentlemen, for finding time to come. We'll take a short pause now for that segment to come on this program this morning on ITV.